Good morning. It is morning where I am, and I have had some breakfast, read some book, and now I'm going to do some album commentary on this Album Hawk, my new album. I'm Finn, by the way. Album Hawk 2017, an interesting collection of songs split into two parts, and we're going to listen through the whole thing, and I'm going to be chatting over top. There's also this full album stream in its own standalone video without my voice over top, so feel free to go and listen to that if you just want to hear the album. This is going to be the album with my commentary on top, just talking about the tracks and the whole album, and, well, no further ado, let's dive right into this. So, part one of this album is a more typical Finn thing, where I'm just constantly writing these songs as I'm working, and over time, they just get collected into an album. It's not like I wrote all these songs at near the same time and then planned on an album happening. I mean, from like Life is Good, which is one of the first ones, that was like a year, maybe a bit more. And then all the next several months, just doing these tracks here and there, they get gathered into this album. So there's this weird sense of non-cohesiveness almost. It's because the genres vary so widely. I'm at different places when I write each of the songs. So hopefully it's interesting. Life is Good, for example. We have this talking introduction, unconventional. The first 20 seconds is this fade-in of a blend of tracks from the last album, which creates this cacophony, and it cuts out into just me talking about how life is good. And even though that was one of the first tracks that got written that is included on Album Hawk, it's still true, which is great. Life is still good. Life is still great. So it's such a great opener to establish that as just the baseline for all of this music, is that regardless of everything else about it, life is good, and it's good. So the whole thing can just be this uplifting experience. I'm doing okay, you know? Life is good. Life is good. Life is good. And we have this nice swelling synth in the background. So it's this, it's not music so much, this experiment piece. And then we have this TV static to guide us into the talking originally, and then to guide us out. And then, boom, The Fire I Love punches in. This one is really strange. In that I've tried to rap. Listen to this. What a white guy. My lord. Listen to how white this guy is. He is not a child of the streets. He's got problems. But, even though I gave it, I gave rap my darndest effort, it's still, like, inherently funny. It's, oh, man. I mean, I like this song. It's one of it's within the top half of the album for me, at least. And it was so much fun to do. I might do more rap in the future. Not for the results, but just for the doing it. It's fun to do that. To try and not, to think about pitch differently to pull off rap. I mean, there's also a lot of singing in The Fire I Love. It's more alternative than it is rap, but it's still fun to do that rap bit. The rest is more standard Finn fare. We got the real drums and bass, and then the synth leads. And then we have this sweet synth solo. That is a good time. Oh, what's a good poppy, upbeat, synth-heavy song without a great synth solo, you know? Although it really does, has a weird direction. It's hard to decide what the song is trying to achieve. Like, the start of it is rap, and then there's no rapping for the last half, and it's just a lot of singing and the synth solo. I don't know. I feel like when I'm exploring new genres, naturally you're gonna lean on elements that you know and understand to ground you in the music, so you have a base to poke forth and try out those new genres. Fire Love is good. It has a good idea. It's hard to say what it achieves. Pull Me, on the other hand, is much more cohesive, I think. It's one of my favorite tracks, in my top 3 on this album. And it's just full-on rush of blood to the head era Coldplay. Everything is real. There's no synths in it. It's just piano and guitar rock. And it just sounds good. The idea was actually much older. I've been stewing on the idea for maybe a couple years. And in those couple years, it was always much more calm. It was much more laid back. It was almost folky and more sad. Because it is a sad story. We have these two people who have these feelings for each other. They know, I've always imagined it, they've been together through so much, and they have this intense passion, and yet they're so fundamentally mismatched that they just have all these troubles. They have all these problems, and instead of helping each other solve their problems, they get dragged down by the other person's problems, and then that stacks, and then that stacks, and it just gets worse and worse. At the same time, they want to try and fix things, so for such an upbeat, major chord using song, it's really a sad story. Just a bad time, Oh dear. See, look, nothing changes. Nothing changes at all. I really like this song. Just those guitar bits that da-da-da, da-da-da. Just when elements work together totally right, and the mix is full and not overbearing, and everything's just in its right place, that's so satisfying to me. The mix is not perfect, of course. That's one of the things you're probably going to hear, especially in part 1 of Album Hawk, is that the mixing on each of these songs can be very different. And that's because of this disconnect between creating them. I wrote The Fire I Love first. That was the first song that was written for this album, or that's included on this album. And its mix and master is crisp and not bass heavy, and then Pull Me is much denser in the bass end. Other songs will be very different too. That's part of the fun, I guess, of a FinnM-K album. You never know what you're gonna get. The genres vary widely. The mixing and mastering is all over the place. I think maybe the next one I do, I might try and actually do an album and plan that out from start to finish. Maybe just an EP, instead of having these, instead of having it just be a collection of songs I've made, be an album, a concept of its own, an identity of its own. Well, we'll see. We'll find out. I am going to take breaks from writing originals for a while. I'm sort of burnt out. I'll get into that into part 2. Can't you just see Johnny Buckland playing that? It's the sort of rock that moms love. It's non-offensive. It's safe. Onwards and up every time hard to take in all that I've got. This was like the Fire I Love, which is a foray into rap. Hard to take in all I've got is sort of a foray into folk rock. I knew even going in, there were certain folk rock techniques I wanted to use, which is not how I normally write a song. But you can hear, that constant snare, and it's done with brushes. That's a staple in so many folk songs, and I was like, I want to do that. I remember that actually, that was like the starting point for this song. I was like, I want to get a good snare groove going. Just snare heavy stuff, a little bit of kick. And the whole thing got built around that. Halfway through, you'll hear, it's kind of subtle in how it ends up in the final master, but halfway through, the brushes switch to sticks, but that still just keeps pumping through. As far as what the song is about, I write about my own, they say write what you know. I write about my own ambition a lot, because that's such a central part of how I structure my life and what my goals are with my music. I mean, songs that are about my ambition on this album, I'll just list off right now. The Fire I Love, Hard to Take in All That I've Got, Don't Need Love, kind of. That actually might be it. Part 2 is less focused on that. But, see, there's that brushes to sticks. But yeah, ambition, it's about, my whole life is structured towards trying to feed this unquenchable ambition to be better and to achieve more, which is both a blessing and a curse. Even like in the second verse, I'm talking directly to my ambition. Listen to this. So that's the struggle. It's so hard for me to sit still because I naturally tend towards doing things. And when you're always moving forward, it's hard to look around at where you are right now, and it's hard to appreciate what you've achieved. So this is sort of an effort and a reminder to myself. It's like, yes, do the journey. Ambition is a good thing inherently when you can keep it in check. But also, look at all you've got already. Look at all this amazing stuff. That applies to anyone. Like, if you're always thinking about how things can be better, it's hard to see how things are good right now. Like, I'm sitting here on a Wednesday morning in my own apartment that I can pay for by writing music. And I had food that I was able to buy thanks to being born into advantageous conditions and living in a great country. And I have had friends over last night, and I'm seeing family soon. My mama's coming to visit today. It's like there's so many good things that have nothing to do with I need to be a better musician, I need to have more success, I need to achieve more. So this is just sort of a reminder for that. It's not saying don't achieve things, but saying, appreciate what you achieve, or else it just goes, there's no bother, there's no point. Yeah. Sonder. What a track. 10 minutes of epic build-up. This is by far the most I don't want to say unfitting, but certainly out of place song on the album. I mean, you thought Life is Good is like a talking experiment. Fire I Love is half rap. Pull Me is alternative rock. Hard to Take in All That I've Got is folk rock. Those are all at least bound by, one, having me sing on them. Sonder's the only instrumental track on this album. But they're all, they have common elements, like drums and bass and stuff. Sonder is much more orchestral. It's just this 10-minute journey on basically one chord pattern, repeating over and over again, slowly building up, and about 7 minutes in, we have this huge explosion, and we explode until the end. I really like it. There's no question that it's influenced by Sigur Rós. There's no doubt in my mind. Structurally, instrumentally, like this is mostly orchestral. Closer to the end, there's drums. It's again, it's like if I were trying to make, a commercially viable album, Sonder probably wouldn't make it on, or it would be on an album with all my instrumental music. But that's part of the fun of a Finn album. You never know what you're gonna get. So Sonder is this big journey, and the reason I wrote it, as opposed to all these other songs which gear more towards pop, is due to what was happening in my work at that time. So I work full-time writing music for games and films and such, and 95% of the time, music like Sonder is what I'm writing for those projects. So not necessarily a big orchestral prog song, but I'm writing instrumental music. There's often orchestral instruments involved. And so when I come home from a day of doing that, I often, if I'm gonna write more music for fun, I probably don't want to write more of the same. So when I come home from writing instrumental music like I normally do, it's easier for me to go and write pop songs, which is why most of the album is pop. When I was writing Sonder, the project I was working on was the flip side. I was doing rock stuff for that, guitar, bass, drums. And so when I came home from doing that, I was like, I don't want to do more guitar, bass, drums. I want to do instrumental stuff and orchestral things. Hence, Sonder. It came into being, believe it or not, from conception to finished master in 3 days. It was an insane 3 days. It was Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I remember it in the spring of this year. And I just had this idea, and I just did literally nothing but this for those 3 days. I woke up, I worked on Sonder for like 14 hours, 16 hours, and then I went to sleep 3 days in a row. And by the end of that, it was done. So because it has this, like, such a short creation period, as a creator, when I listen to it and I look back, it's really easier for me to listen just as a listener, because I have so few memories of creating it. It just happened. It was suddenly there. So it's easy for me to have that disconnect, which is nice, honestly, because so much of the time, for anyone who makes their own music or makes their own art of any kind, when you look at your own stuff, you're viewing it as the creator. So when you have that opportunity to view material just as an audience member, it's something special. Oh man, I like this one so much. It just builds up this whole time, and it takes there's no rush taken. There's no weight on my shoulders. There's no company. It's like, you gotta get it shorter, Finn, or the kids won't buy it. There's no like fellow band members being like, we gotta include guitar, Finn, or I won't like it. It's just strictly Finn. And I remember there's no rush to it because it is done to a click track, but what I did was I had the piano that plays basically the whole time. I recorded that all in one go with no hard song structure in mind. I just built it up, and when I knew like the sections I was going to go into, and then like when it felt right, when I'd played enough, when I'd done enough repetitions of that chord pattern, I was like, okay, and then we'll move on. And it felt right at exactly the length that it ended up as. So I just did this on piano once, and then that was the scratch track, and everything got built around that, which is not like a conventional way to write a song, and especially not a conventional way for me to write a song. But it worked out. we just have this nice, it sounds pretty nice through the whole thing, but you have this sense of building up to something more. And oh baby, does it. I don't think I ever got completely satisfied with the exact transition into the big area, but I'm not a perfectionist. There was enough right that I was happy to leave it. And that's coming up soon. I'm excited. It's one of those songs where there's no arrogance about it. There's not trying to be technically amazing or anything. All the parts are really simple. It's the sum of the parts that's important, which I hold to be true with nearly all music. If you're making excuses to show off, then the music tends to be worse in the final. Oh man, here we go. I'm just gonna listen to this. What a few minutes. I'd always wanted to do that classic Sigur Rós big explosive ending. This is my chance to do that. And then we have this piano fading out. It's hard to pinpoint the exact emotion of Sonder. Like, it's full of passion, but I don't know if it's sad or happy or angry. I don't know. I always loved that transition from Sonder to Don't Need Love. I knew immediately I'd have to place Don't Need Love after Sonder. We had this piano fading out, and then just suddenly those pizzicato strings coming in. It's like the perfect reintroduction to the more pop side of things. Yeah, so Don't Need Love. Look at that. This sassy, emo-y pop piece. It's yeah, this one's, it's about ambition too, because of course it is. I don't know how true it actually is. I think I was in a particularly angsty place when I wrote this. And I was like, love gets in the way. I don't need that. It's a waste of time. I have this higher calling of greatness to achieve. And I mean, that's not like 100% off the mark, but also, love isn't a waste of time. And I think I was just feeling angsty when I wrote it. And I don't remember why. I don't know. There was no good reason for it. It's just like, screw this love business. I'm gonna make music. Yeah. That does sound like me, actually. That's basically all the reasoning I would need. I remember I wanted to write this one as a particularly obvious pop piece. So as opposed to like rock or alternative, which are be like what I tend to. So hence the use of that, like the unconventional like pizzicato strings, but then these synth drums. And just this more laid-back vibe. I was like, what would Ed Sheeran write? And I was like, let's try that. I'm pretty sure, I don't remember the exact timing, but I think Shape of You had come out pretty recently when I wrote this. Because I remember digging the sort of his synth drums at the beginning, the bum, 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 which influenced the little synth drums at the beginning of this. Although the second half of it is much more standard fanfare. I think I got halfway through and was like, I mean, it's good, but I don't love it. And I needed to give myself a reason to really enjoy it. So I was like, ooh, guitar and piano and drums and bass. My favorite. Yeah. So then at the end, it synthesizes this bridge sound with the rest of it. And it has this neat mix. It's, yeah, it's really just like as pop as I get. Like, listen to this business. How pop is that? So 2017, so hip, and now? It's got a good groove though. I like that. Boom boom, ba-dum boom, bam, ba-da-da, boom boom, ba-dum boom, ba-dum boom. It's one of those songs where you could just listen to the drums and bass, and you could be grooving along that. You'd be like, this is a good time. This is also one of the songs that, as I wrote it and I was like, I wish I had. I wish now I'd taken the time to get a singer in, because I think it's got, like, the vocal melodies are good, but I am not good enough to pull them off, you know? It's a little too high for my voice, it's a little uncomfortable. If I'd gotten like a great pop singer with a tenor voice range in there, it would have been a lot better. But we'll do that next time. I'm looking forward to doing collaborations, because this whole album is just Finn. And then we have When the Sky Falls Down and You Have Nothing You Need to Do. The twin to part 2's When Your Life is Complete and You Have Everything to Show for It. And these two are the enders. They split up part 1 and part 2. They end the album. And they're both just piano and me. There's no big symbolic reason or particular ending for it. They're just two small ideas I had that I tried to flesh them out to bigger, more complete songs. And they just didn't want to. It was better for them to just be these 2-minute ideas. And when the album was done, I was like, oh, I have these 2 parts. I have these 2 twin songs. They should hold twin places in the parts. And I think it works pretty well. Part 1, the ending here, it feels like, for me, I've listened to the album a bunch, and it feels like this transition, which is perfect. And then When Your Life is Complete is more of the ender. And with this ever-increasing reverb and some strings, yes, there's the cello. We're coming to the end of part 1. And we'll be launching into Album Hawk, Art 2, after this very nice last chord. So pleasant. And we kick into part 2 with a frickin' bang, buddy. Lavender Air Balloon, my favorite song on the album, one of my favorite songs I've ever written. This song is great. It is just full of life and energy. Like, listen to this upbeatness. It is just so fun, and even like the content of the song, lyrically, there's no point to the song except to be happy. The whole concept is like, if you're feeling down, maybe this song will make you feel happy. Literally, that's my intention behind it, and that's the lyrical content. It's like, if you're feeling down, my Lavender Air Balloon will come lift you off your feet. I think those are exact lyrics. So it's like, it's just a good time. I was pretty close. Yeah, it's just, I just love this. If I were to start performing live, or to, like, sign with a label and do like an actual commercial album, Lavender Air Balloon would be on there. It would maybe be the lead single. It's just, And it's got everything I love, personally. It's all just like bass drums, piano, guitar. There's some synth stuff in there too. It's just like every element of what I love in the music I make. It's synthesized together here in Lavender Air Balloon. Even the bridge has a bunch of great acoustic guitar stuff. It's just like everything I love. Oh, just a good time. So part 2, I may as well get into that. Part 2 is interesting because all of these songs, all 7 of them, or 6 of them, not When Your Life Is Complete, but the 6 like full songs, were all written for the same reason. I've been in a songwriting competition, a composition competition, hosted by Newgrounds.com, the audio death match. And the basic concept of that is it's this many round bracketed composition competition where you go head to head with another composer. And it goes from the initial submissions to round of 64, 32, 16, 8, 4, 2, and finally the winner. As I record this, I'm in the grand finale. I'm one of the last 2. And that has resulted in me writing all these songs. We've had 2 weeks to write them, and then there's 1 week of judging. And then if you progress further, it starts over again. Another 2 weeks to write a song, and so on. So my audition submission one was Don't Need Love, which I'd already written. And then I wrote The Afterlust, Lavender Air Balloon, Invisible Magic, That Feeling, Oh Mama Hey, and then We Are Heroes. So it's just been a whirlwind. It's been an interesting way to write music, being forced to write it so frequently. It's been good and bad. I've made a lot of neat music and I've been able to explore some cool ideas, but also it's like, I just yesterday, as I record this, finished We Are Heroes, the last track. I'm burnt out from writing originals. That's a big part of the reason why I'm taking a break from writing them for a while. Because I've been writing them non-stop for this competition because I keep progressing. And it's good to know that even if I don't win the finale, I don't have to write anymore for a while. So, yeah, that's a good thing. Anyways, given that these 6 big songs are written for the purposes of a competition, they're less experimental than part 1. I wouldn't be submitting Sonder to the competition. These ones they're leaning more on my strengths and what I know is more publicly liked and appreciated. So they're more pop-centric. Vocals have a big part in all of them. That's not to say they don't vary. I mean, Lavender Air Balloon and The Afterlust and yeah, those two are like pretty straightforward alternative rock. Oh Mama Hey is folk rock. That Feeling is more pop. We Are Heroes is heavier. It's more hard rock. Invisible Magic is just a weird journey. I'm surprised that one got me through. But like these are, so end of the day, these are all like pretty short. The Afterlust is almost 5 minutes, which was really stretching it. But you know, these are all basically pop songs. And that, or at least the idea of writing them all near the same period of time, it gives part two a sense of cohesiveness on one level, but also I like it less. The flow, it feels more like just a group of songs than an album. With part one, you have so much more variety in dynamics and in pacing and stuff. With part two, I was worried, it's like, oh, I gotta like keep every song full and bouncing at every moment. I gotta make them good for the judges. So that influenced the writing, certainly. And it's good to do that. It's good to get out of your comfort zone. But I'm looking forward to not having to do that. Anyways, the Afterlust, long story short, I had this relationship, didn't work out, and it was just this short, intense relationship, and I've realized, I mean, I went into it as like, let's give this serious relationship thing a try. Give it the old honest effort. And calling the song The Afterlust is fitting, because I was like, you know, it really was more lust than anything else. So I made up this word, Afterlust. I realize now this naming may have been subconsciously taken from James Blunt's new album, The After Love, I think it's called. Oh well. You know what they say. Good artists copy, great artists steal. Yeah. Yeah, but The Afterleft is a fun time. It's one of those ones I like a lot too. It goes through a lot of different dynamic places. It's got all this alternative rock vibe going on. Yeah, and it's just this reflection on, I was the one who initiated the breakup, and it's like, it sucked to do that, but also it was the right choice. And that's just how it has to be sometimes. I think I may be slightly over-dramatic with this bridge. Although I don't now remember exactly how I felt coming out of it. Maybe it was more accurate then. I mean, I've made my peace with it now, certainly. But, you know, sort of that... It's a classic breakup song. I'm Taylor Swifting. But I'm not Taylor Swifting maliciously. I'm not going after her or anything. Wise words, I think. It's hard to think to yourself. It always feels if I like say to myself, that was a good wisdom, like that was something you learned well. It's hard to not feel arrogant, especially when you write it into a song and show it to the world. It's like, here, look at all this wisdom I've accumulated. Like, how does that not come off as pretentious? But at least I think that last line repeated 4 times, has some wisdom to it. And then we have Oh Mama Hey. This is far more folk rocky than Hard to Take In All That I've Got. This is that true folk rock, where the whole thing is driven by this good vibe and acoustic guitar. And it's written about my mom. On album There's a song called Hero, which is about my dad. And I was like, you know the heck what? It's the heck time I write a song for my mom, because she deserves it. So I wrote this folk rocky song just about, you know, my mom is there at the farm where she lives with Omaha, and there's no one else there. It can get pretty isolating. So this is a song just being like, I know it gets isolating because you're my mom, and I visit there a bunch, and I've grown up with you being my mom, obviously. And it's just saying, you know what? It's like when things are looking bleak. You know that you've always got your son on your side. Hopefully both sons. I won't speak for Hadrian, but I mean, you got Finn with you, Mom. So it's just a good time. And this is just like talking about stuff to do on the farm.
If you bring the sheep and put them back in their pen, you've earned some Scrabble 'cause the fun never ends.
So this is just like a window into not necessarily like the general farm life, but specific to the farm. For me, it's just the farm. I can say the farm, and you know, family members know what I'm referring to. It has no special branded name. It's not like Oxcastle Manor or anything. It's just a farm. I've even got that country-style harmonies in the left and right ear. And this bit was definitely influenced by a song off of Brandon Flowers' first solo album called Magdalena. And it's got a similar sort of vibe. And I hadn't even listened to it in a long time when I got the idea for Oh Mama Hey, but as soon as I did, I was like, oh man, Magdalena. So go listen to that once you're done listening to this album. It's a great song. This whole bridge is in German. And that's because, you know, my mom is German, I'm German. My mom is a first-generation immigrant from Germany. And if I'm writing a song about my mom, for my mom, to not include German would be, you know, a kick in the pants. So we gotta have that bridge in German.
Love has a power to heal. Oh, mama, promise when you're feeling low. It's not so bad.
And then we just have these good time vibes till the end. There is a difference in this chorus. There's piano in this chorus. It's more subtle though. It's very on purpose, not in the front. Like, well, I want that feeling of folk rock. You gotta make that acoustic guitar the focal instrumental point. Not the piano, even though it's there. Just because I rely on piano so much. If people hear piano, it's like, oh, it's just Finn up to his old tricks. And I want to be, no, these are new tricks. There's barely any piano in there, and it's not structural. It's just for flavor. That thing goes with that feeling when I'm with you as well. This one is again, it's like, remember how I talked about Sonder and it's like the writing period was so short that it's hard to listen as a creator and I just listen as an audience member. I get that with that feeling too, and partially because it's just like so weird. It has like, it has so many different directions and ideas in it. I don't know what it's trying to achieve. It's just like real weird. And I listen to it and I'm like, I don't remember making this. It's so strange. Like, clearly I did make it, but when I listen, it's just like, oh, what a weird song. Hey, wait, I'm singing it. Ah! So, I don't know what to call it. It's like a pop song. It just has all of these weird elements to it. And there's like, the structure is odd. This chorus is not. It's fun, though. I guess with the chorus, I wanted to get kind of a vibe of like, Adventure of a Lifetime meets 24 Karat Magic. And then this like post-chorus instrumental thing, I don't know. Originally there was a different melody that had a vocal line paired to it, and then I came up with this synth line. And I said to myself, oh, that's actually better. So I put that in, And jeez, I don't know. Like we're like what? How far into the song? We're like 2 minutes into the song, and there has been no repeated sections yet. What kind of structure is this? We're into Form 5. We've gone through the A section, the B section, and the CD. Now we're in the E section. It's a weird structure. So it's at least like comforting to know it's like, oh, it's like this weird pop song. It's this pop song, but also it's like, it's challenging. It's not just verse, chorus, bridge, chorus. It is peculiar, which is good, you know? Gotta keep pushing the envelope. The first repeated section, 3 minutes in, is the chorus again. And it's this and then the post-chorus is like the only thing that repeats. Very weird. In the context of the competition, I was like, I have all these sections, these song sections, but I need to keep the song short and crisp. But I don't want to take the sections out, so I just ended up putting them all in and not repeating any of them. Ugh. What a weird song. Oh well. You know, it's fun. And that's all you can hope for at the end of the day. A less fun track, but a sweet track is We Are Heroes. The song is just heavy. That's what it is. I wanted to do hard rock. So listen to this drop. There's this huge guitar sound. And I was super happy when I was done this because like there's only guitar, bass, and drums throughout the whole thing. Except for this little bit of electric piano. Besides that, like everything is just guitar, bass, drums. There's no synth, there's no anything. And I was just super amped, and I was like, I got this like thick, meaty, distorted guitar sound that fills the whole mixing space, the whole headspace, the whole stage, which was very gratifying to get. I remember I mixed this. I was like, how would Nickelback mix this? So I listened to some Nickelback, and I was like, okay, I got some ideas. Although I feel like if Chad Kroeger sang this, it would be way better. My voice is so like, if my voice is like this ant with a nasal inflection, and his is like a stone. His voice is built for rock. It's so gravelly and powerful. Mine is like, hey guys, it's FinnM-K over here, singing the hard rock song. Chad Kroeger's like, I'm Chad Kroeger, singing some rock. Oh well, you know, gotta keep trying new things. Maybe I'll do a song where I go full gravelly. Chad Kroeger. You know he's married to Avril Lavigne? That's a power Canadian couple. Also, Avril Lavigne is great. I've been jamming on her stuff recently. I don't care what people think. I'm digging Avril Lavigne. Screw you if you think that's not cool. She's a cool chick. Anyways, we're listening to my album right now. The one cool vocal thing is right here. Listen to this. Just got that really high B flat. I was really happy when I got that is. I was also super happy with how the drum sound. I think more than like the song idea, I like the mixing on this song. It's probably a little too much low end, but it just sounds like so thick and satisfying and meaty. It's just a good time. The song itself is just about like the power of imagination. But like in your imagination, you can be anyone you want. Like for me, example, like I'm a socially progressive guy. I'm all about equality and the damsel in distress superhero trope being like, okay, come on, we played that out. And at the same time, it's like, you know, sometimes I do just want to be the hero saving the damsel in distress, though. It's like, it's my imagination. I don't care if it's not, like, equality. I want to be the hero in my mind, so screw you, I am, you know? No one can police your imagination. As long as you don't, like, you can imagine anything you want. You can imagine all the racist, sexist, horrible, murdery, rapey things you want. I don't care. As long as you don't do them, or, like, say them, bring them out, you know? Your imagination is your playground. I don't care. What you do in there is your business, as far as I'm concerned. So the last big full song we have on part 2 and on the album is Invisible Magic. This is a really cool song, and it was a song that, thanks to the time constraints of the audio deathmatch, that is like, if I had more time to focus on this one, it could have been better, because the idea is so cool. The execution is meh. The whole thing is in a couple of neat time signatures. This whole beginning's in 7/8, and then it goes into 5/4, and then back into 7/8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7/8's a really fun time signature because it just keeps things flowing, keeps things moving. And this, it's about love, but not the typical romantic love. This is sort of like a love for mankind and how love of each other just as a species is such a big part of what drives us and unifies us and moves us together. And everyone needs that love. A lot of people don't get romantic love or don't want romantic love, but that part of sense of community of being in a species is important. We have this neat part where it's just constant vocals here, no breaths. I'm not Eminem, I didn't pull it off all in one take. It's a couple takes spliced together, but it's still a cool section. And it's like we all carry it over and over again. So we all carry this aspect of humanity as a community that binds us. It's not just us on our own. We're social creatures, no matter how introverted you are. And I know, I'm pretty introverted. I don't think I've left the house in like 4 or 5 days because I have everything I need here. And yet, it's like, people are so important. People revolve, they are everything. They build society. Even if you're living out in the forest or out on the farm where my mom is, people are so important. So, we all need to be loved. I'm no exception. And now we're at the end.
This is your time to shine.
This is pretty much what the title says. When I die, I want to be satisfied with what I've done. I want to know that I've lived life to the fullest. I don't really want to have regrets. Maybe I did stupid things, but I did them. I didn't do nothing. I did something. I'll let the music talk.
I hear heaven's call. I want to've done it all. My life, a gift that I used well. My body broke. My spirit
And those are the last words. The rest of this is just oohs and ahs. My body broke, my spirit full. That's how I want to go. Maybe I die in a tragic accident, or in a bed surrounded by loved ones. But you know, if my spirit's full, if my life has been complete, it doesn't really matter so much. And that seemed like a really good sentiment to leave the album on. coming full circle to part 1, track 1, Life is Good. Life is good. And even if I die tomorrow, I'll die satisfied knowing that I've had a happy life. And that's the whole album. Thanks for listening to the commentary, and have a great day.